folks, thanks for joining me today. So today's tutorial we're going to be using a mold number 2 from the Happy Dotting Company, and we are going to be painting on an Inukshuk. So if you don't know what an Inukshuk is, it is a native tradition or an indigenous tradition to make these little Inukshuks to lead the way to safety. So you see these usually along the highways and things like that, at least where I am, and that's what they're there for. So I'm just going to sketch this on and do the best that I can, erase what I don't want, and I don't know why I bother doing all of this because I come in and I cover it all up with white paint. So basically I put down what I wanted and kind of liked the design and thought, okay, that's going to stay in my mind's eye. And now I'm going to paint over it with white paint. So I'm just going to do one coat of white paint because I don't need like even coverage. I'm just going over it to give it a nice base coat. So I've got sort of a lighter color because I'm going to be using this blue, which is called ocean blue. And then I will also be using a green, which is Kelly green, on the bottom part to act like the grass. But I'm doing this while the white paint is wet. So this way I can get a nice blend, I guess, with the white paint, and to make the blue a little bit lighter, and I'm going to throw in a little bit more white paint. And I'm okay that some of that black is going to shine through because this is the sky. I will be putting on some clouds and I'll show you how I will do that in just a little bit. But I really wanted to get this coat of blue on, and I don't mind if there are different shades of blue throughout of it because it is the sky after all, and it's not always perfectly blue. Summer is coming, so maybe we will see a lot more blue skies and some nicer, warmer weather. But it certainly is fooling us right now, and we are experiencing some major weather, winter weather phenomenons. We've been experiencing snow mixed with ice pellets and some freezing rain, and then it goes back to snow, and it's just all over the place. I think that Mother Nature's angry that winter is ending, or maybe it's Jack Frost that's angry that winter is ending. So I think that it's throwing everything they can at us to remind us that, you know, the cold weather isn't over yet. So as I've been chatting about the weather, I've been painting away, and basically what I've done here is I'm using a brush that's has seen better days, and it has sort of spread out a bit, so it's great for doing texture. So I'm adding a little tiny bit of some gray, which is called Zinc, and I'm sort of mixing it in with the gray, with the green, to give it a little bit of different shades of green all the way throughout, because I want this to look like a really beautiful sunny day. And now I'm going to add some clouds. So the clouds, I use my blending brush, and you can tell it's been used quite a bit, but its bristles have not split, they've spread out. So they're perfect for making clouds. So what you just saw me do is making clouds with that brush, and I use the side of the brush and I use the edges of the brush, and it gives me this different variations of the white to allow some of that blue to come through, and the blue is dry when I do this, so it really gives me a nice little variation of the white, and some of the parts of the clouds are a little bit thinner than others, so the sky does shine through a little bit, and it gives it that essence of the shadow that you see on the bottom of the clouds. So that's all basically the background, and now we're going to work on the foreground, which is the center of the painting here, which is our lovely little Inukshuk. So I'm going in with black paint first, and I am just putting in my design, and I'm not being careful. I'm wanting it to be like rocks, and by doing what I'm doing, it really gives that essence that it is actually rocks, that they're jagged, they're not perfectly shaped, nothing perfect, because these are rocks, and rocks are part of Mother Nature, and nothing in Mother Nature is perfect. So, except her herself. Anyway, so now I'm going in with some of that zinc color while the black paint is still wet, so I can get these different variations of the darker colors. And I'm just going back and forth where I want to see darker colors or a little bit lighter color, and I'm just adding the zinc in while that black paint is wet. So I'm basically doing blending while the paint is wet to get me this beautiful Inukshuk that is standing out in the middle of a field and is showing all of the travelers the way to go. So I'm now adding in a little bit of white, and again, the paint is still wet, so I can really maneuver the paint around, get it blended in, but not so much so that it's like completely blended. I really want like the different paint strokes are from the brush and from the paint that's being mixed in together. And if it's a little bit too white, I just come back in with a little bit of the zinc, and the zinc actually blends in and makes a lighter color of gray. So it all works out in the end. And I think that it's really pretty. I really like how it's turned out. So all the colors that I do use are by DecoArt. They are listed in the description. So if I forget to mention any color name, it will be listed down below. And then if I'm making any shades like I'm doing right now, this is the shadow that's going to be reflecting onto the grass. All I do is I add the slightest bit of darker color. So I think with this one, I mixed in some of that zinc, again, to make the shadow with a lot of green. So it's just like a dab of the brush into my zinc color, mixed it in with my green, and I ended up getting this perfect color for the shadow that goes on from the sun that's going to be behind the Inukshuk, which is not there at the moment. But basically, when you do a shadow, you just do the opposite of what is being reflected or what's creating the shadow. And you put it on a bit of an angle, because unless the sun is like right on top or right behind, then you would do it straight on. But because I'm having the sun come off to the right side of the Inukshuk, and you'll see that happen in a little bit. But I really wanted to have that shadow on a little bit of an angle, so that way you could see where the sun is coming from. It's actually casting the shadow in the opposite direction of where the sun's coming from. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see in a minute when I get to painting the sun, and you'll understand then. At least I hope you do. If you don't, I'll try to explain it again differently, maybe in another tutorial. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just outlining now, cleaning it up, giving it that little cartoony kind of look, and putting on some shadow and things like that, just to really make this Inukshuk to be the center point. Now, obviously, it's in the middle of the rock, so that's a pretty good place to put it. But now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some light sources. So I know that the sun is going to be coming on the right side. So I want to make those parts of the rocks to be lighter to show that it is reflecting some of that sun that is coming through. And we're going to do sun rays too. I know I've done this before, but I just thought it would be a nice little refresher to do these little sun rays that we've done before. Especially in this, because I think it just adds to it and brings your eye towards the shadow, which brings you to the round of the rock. So now I'm going to add in some grass. So what I did with this was I took the Kelly green, I added a little bit of white, and then I added just a couple of drops of water. This makes it really pliable, so you can stretch it further when there's very little on your brush. And I'm using my fine lining brush, and I'm just doing quick little swips. Swips, swipes. We're doing swip swipes. Anyway, so I'm just adding them here and there, not in any particular place or reason, just where I think that there might be some taller grass that needs a little bit emphasizing. And so that's why I'm doing it this way. I do also come in and I do a little bit more of a darker green, but still lighter than what's on the background, so that you can see those swipes. And actually I'm doing that right now. And now you'll see there's a little gray mark on the left side there. So I guess my gray wasn't dry yet on the Inukshuk when I rested my hand on it. And then when I rested my hand on the other side of the rock, this little gray spot magically appeared. So instead of trying to fix it, we're going to go with it. And you'll see that in a minute. So now this is the sun. So it's just sort of peeking underneath his armpit there. And I put a big generous dot of white paint. And now I'm using my fine lining brush, and I'm just pulling the paint out of that dot. And I'm putting it so that it is sort of washing out the one side of the Inukshuk. So it looks like that it is peeking through underneath his armpit there. So, and I also wanted to do some more swipes on the other side as well, because that's how we're going to follow along with the sun rays. So we're going to let the sun dry, and then we're going to, like I said, fix up that little gray spot that was there, add another one on the other side. And again, I'm using that zinc color, and now I'm going in with some black. And then I'm going to do the same thing as what I did with the Inukshuk. I'm going to add a little bit of the zinc and white just to give it different color, so it looks more like a rock. And then we're going to add a little bit of grass in front of it. So same technique as I've been doing so far, and it's just repeating, and we're just making these little stones here that are kind of peeking out of the grass, and we're going to add a little bit of shadow as well to those. So while I do that, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for joining me. And the best way to let me know that you like the video is by giving me that thumbs up. If you're new, thank you for joining. I'm glad that you could be here. If you haven't subscribed, I urge you to do so. I do post every Friday with a new video. So make sure that you subscribe. And if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you click on that little bell, and it'll give you a notification when I do post something new. And you don't want to miss anything, because I've got quite a few already done. They're all ready to be posted, and they will be coming to a screen near you. So make sure you do all of that. And now we're going to get into the sun rays. So basically this is the same blending brush that I used to make the clouds. And I dabbed it into some white paint, and then I wiped off the majority of it on a paper towel. And then what's left on my brush, I'm just going to rub it on in a straight motion back and forth from that center starburst. There, I just checked to see how much paint I had on there. And I'm just going to continue doing this all the way around. And it ends up looking like the sun rays, how you can see them sometimes coming through the clouds, or especially in a forest, when you see them sort of slicing through the forest, through the tops of the trees, which is really, really cool. Maybe I should paint something like that. That would be neat. Anyways, so now I'm going in with my absolutely most favorite gold, which is the DecoArt Metallic Glorious Gold. And I'm just going around to get my circle back and create that circle. Now you would have seen that there was 2 circles on here. I am going to be filling in the gold all the way to the second circle, but I wanted to get it as tight and, well, to get my circle back from the painting that's in the inside. And then the gold is just going to act like a frame. And that's how I'm going to clean this all up. And I'm also going to go in with my fine lining brush once this gold is dry and put a black, very thin line between the gold and the actual painting so that it has that break and sort of outlines it. Now this part here, I felt like I needed to sort of finish it off a bit because there was a bit of black showing through and I didn't want to bring my gold all the way up. So all I'm doing is blending in some of that original blue color, which was ocean blue. And I just added a little bit of white and a little bit of water. And I really was able to blend that in so that it doesn't even look like I did that. So there's so many ways that you can play around with acrylic paint, and it is so fun to do. And as you can see too, that the first line of paint is already dry and I'm painting over it. So the paint does dry a little bit darker than what you put it on, but that's okay. And this is why I love acrylic paint so much and why I love this gold so much, because it is so pretty, especially once it's been resined and has that nice glass coat over top of it. And you'll see that at the end. When we get to the end of the video, I always post 3 different videos, three different photos of the finished product so that you can get a visual of all sides of it. So make sure you stick around for that. And it is at the end of the video. So now that the gold is dry, I'm now going in, like I said, with my fine lining brush, a little bit of black that's been watered down with a couple of drops of water so that it can be stretched longer and I can get a really fine line with it. I am going to do that. So I'm going to put that little frame in between the painting itself and the gold frame on the outside. And I also want to apologize for my fingernails. You can tell that they're a little bit blue. That's because when I opened the bottle of blue paint, it kind of exploded. So yeah, I've got blue nails and fingers. But my philosophy is if you don't get paint on yourself, you're not getting into your work. Anyways, so there you have it, folks. Life is what you make it. So get creative.